¿Alguna vez se ha preguntado cómo a través de su mente puede crear la vida que tanto quiere? ¿Sabía usted que la meditación no es solamente un tema, sí relacionado con la espiritualidad, pero sobre todo relacionada con el cerebro, y que hay investigaciones que muestran cómo la meditación nos puede ayudar a tener una mejor vida? Por eso invitamos a Joe Dispenza, quien es un investigador y un neurocientífico que ha dedicado muchos años de su vida no solamente a curar su cuerpo a través de la meditación y el pensamiento, sino además a compartir esto alrededor del mundo. Joe, it's a great honor to be here with you today. Joe, you travel all around the world and you have seen how the world is awakening. How do you see Mexico on that matter?
Well, it's changed in the last 5 years, without a doubt. I mean, we're in an age of information, and in an age of information, ignorance is a choice. It's beautiful because people are waking up. They don't need a doctor, a priest, a teacher, a governor to gain information. They don't need an authority to go through to get information to understand how the world works or how their body works. They can access it because of technology. And so because of that, people have a greater understanding of some of the new sciences. And in the last 5 years, cultures have began to amalgamate because information is bonding us in a certain way. What makes Mexico, I think, so unique as a culture is that there's a very nice balance in Mexicans between their head and their heart. They have a good understanding about things, and at the same time, they're not afraid to open their heart. And it's those two ingredients that we use to create a new life with.
When we talk about awakening, it seems it's about spirituality or spiritual things. But it's not only about that.
Sure.
How would you define awakening?
I think consciousness is awareness, and awareness is paying attention. And there's a greater awareness about ourselves, and there's a greater awareness about the nature of reality. So as a collective, there's a shift in consciousness as a result of it. Now, the beauty behind that is that everybody can do the work. Everybody can be included in the process. Nobody is excluded from the phenomenon. So the key ingredient, though, is that now that you understand, this is a time in history where it's not enough to know. This is a time in history to know how to apply that knowledge, how to personalize it, how to demonstrate it, and that's what makes it so exciting.
We're in a very particular moment of world history, and you're in touch with a lot of world leaders. What would you say is the difference between them and us?
Well, in truth, it's not. I can tell you I've sat with leaders and CEOs and officials and definitely political figures, and everybody is actually the same. Everybody wants peace. Everybody wants freedom.
I mean, everyone has fears, for example.
Oh, of course, and by the same means, everybody has fears and doubts, and they worry about things, and that's human nature. But those people are in those positions because they chose to be in those positions. But you and I, by the same means, can make a difference in the world, just like they make a difference in the world. If we choose to give, if we choose to support each other, if we choose to do things that help one another, I think that's as powerful as the leader making a decision. We're still leading.
For some people, meditation, it's like just a spiritual practice or just for monks. And you have done a lot of work in neuroscience to know what are the implications of it and how does it work.
Yes, we've done extensive research on meditation, and my interest, Oscar, is really demystifying the mystical so that people have within their reach all of the tools to begin to apply it to their life. I mean, the basic benefits of meditation, just basic, is that it grows brain cells, it grows gray matter, it makes new connections, it causes us to reduce stress hormones and increase our immune system. It causes the parts of our brain that are the chatter and the discord to begin to work more in harmony. But the interest that I have is to show people that in addition to those things, that when they begin to make internal changes, they can begin to produce external changes in their life.
Please give us an example of internal changes that we can make and that are easy for us.
Well, I mean, think about when you wake up in the morning. Most people wake up in the morning and they come back to their senses and then they start thinking about their problems, they start thinking about the places they have to go, the meetings they have to get to. And all of those thoughts and feelings are thoughts and feelings that are connected to the past. So then the moment they begin to turn on circuits and think about their boss or their job or their family, the things they have to do, the places they have to go, they're turning on different circuits in their brain that are associating with every person, thing, or experience in their life. The brain is a record of the past. The moment they wake up in the morning and feel an emotion is a record of the past. If those emotions start driving the way we think, then for the most part, we're going to be in our past. So the interesting thing about that is people who do that, 95% of their day is pretty predictable because it's going to look just like the day before. So what if you sat down in the morning, instead of getting up and opening your eyes and coming back to your senses, what if you were to just ask yourself a simple question? Who do I want to be when I open my eyes? Who do I want to present to the world? What is the greatest expression of myself? Now, in order for you to really concentrate and do that really well, you would naturally begin to close your eyes. You would disconnect from your outer world. You would play soft music in the background or put earplugs in your ears. You'd want the outer world to no longer influence how you were thinking and feeling. You would sit your body down in one place. You wouldn't get up and move around. You'd sit really still, which means you're not going to be eating anything, tasting anything, smelling anything. You're not going to be getting up and feeling things. Your body's going to be sitting in one place. And if you're not going to get up and get to your schedule or remember the emotions of the past, you're going to get really focused in the present moment.
Emotions are part of our daily life. How would you define emotions, and how does emotions work, like, for example, in the brain, because they have synapses and they have a brain impact on us?
Well, let me finish that last point because I want to give the viewers a real clear understanding of what to do. So then what if then you asked yourself that question, what was the greatest expression of myself? And what if you said, I'm not going to get up from my meditation until I feel like that person? Now, this is where it starts, right? Because then you'd have to become conscious of your unconscious thoughts. Like, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, it isn't going to work. You got to become aware of your automatic habits and behaviors, what you say, how you act, what you do. You'd have to look at your emotions that keep you connected to the past, and you'd have to decide, do these emotions belong in my future? So then the word meditation, the exact translation of the word, means to become familiar with. So as you become familiar with your unconscious states of mind and body, you're less likely to go unconscious in your normal day. Now, you start to ask yourself, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? I can, it's possible. Anything could happen to me. What behaviors do I want to demonstrate? You start thinking about how you're going to be during the day. The research in neuroscience says that the act of rehearsing in your mind, if you're truly present, the brain doesn't know the difference between what's going on out there and what's going on in here. Now you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now the brain's no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. Now here's the key. The question is, can you teach your body emotionally how that future is going to feel like before it's made manifest? Which means you're not going to wait for your healing to feel wholeness. You're not going to wait for your new job to feel gratitude. You're not going to wait for your wealth to feel abundance. You're not going to wait for your success to feel empowered. That's the old model of reality of cause and effect, waiting for something outside of us to give us relief from the pain or the emptiness we feel inside of us. And when we feel differently inside of us, we pay attention to whoever or whatever caused it. And that event is called a memory. But the quantum model of reality is about causing an effect. That means the moment you start feeling wholeness, your healing begins. The moment you start feeling gratitude and love with life, of course, you're going to begin to create new opportunities and jobs in your life. The moment you start feeling empowered, your success is coming. It's causing an effect. And so most people have been conditioned into waiting for something to give them the relief from the pain or emptiness they're experiencing. We know then if feelings and emotions, to answer your question, are the end product of experiences, and we can remember experiences better because we can remember how they feel. You can remember graduating from college or high school. You can remember getting married. You can remember having a child. You remember winning a soccer game because the emotion changed how you were feeling, and the moment you were feeling differently, boom, the brain takes a snapshot of the environment, and that's called a memory. So we emboss circuitry in our brain from experiences. Then we think within those experiences and we feel within the chemistry of those emotions. And there's nothing wrong with that. But now, if you want to create a new experience, a new job, a new opportunity, a new relationship, now you have to begin to get creative, and we all already know how to do this, Oscar. Everybody's done it. You start to get a wild idea about something.
When we were kids, we did it all the time.
We did it all the time. We imagined some event, and then what did we do? We became so excited about that event that we wouldn't take our mind off it, and we started to feel the emotions of the event before it happened.
Or when we plan a trip, for example.
Exactly. The moment you start feeling those elevated emotions, your brain and body just move from living in the past to living in the future. And the biology, as a result of that, begins to change the brain and the body. And so science says that, yeah, the environment signals the gene. Right, no doubt about that. But we experience events in our life, and the experience produces emotions. So emotions then are what signal the gene. So can you begin to experience the emotion ahead of the actually environmental experience? If you can, you're signaling the gene to change the body biologically to be in alignment with that future.
So it's about the present moment now, but also about creating the future with emotions, picturing it, thoughts, and also intention.
And the intention.
And this would be like the new reality of yourself, right?
Yeah, and I think everybody has goals and visions of their future. This isn't something that's so mystical that we can't relate with. I mean, you're in a position you are where you are. Leaders are in a position where they are because they had a vision, and they were uncompromising to that vision, and they kept their emotional energy up, independent of what was going on in their environment. They kept saying, I'm still believing in that vision more than the circumstances in my life. We all do it all the time. Meditation is a tool to be able to remind yourself of who you want to be. See, it's not about becoming wealthy. It's about who you are in the process of it. It's not about getting your wealth, it's who you become.
So it's not only about the concept, but the feeling of how it will be. If you do it the correct way, the way you have taught us how to.
Exactly. So then, but it's not enough to just do it in your meditation and then get up and then go unconscious and start feeling angry and impatient and frustrated, because the moment you did that, you disconnected from that vision. Because if you're feeling those are emotions of your past, and you can't see the future through the lens of the past.
Mexico has repeated history, repeated the same mistakes once and again, once and again. So what would you say to us as a society in order to help us to create the future, the reality we really want for us?
You know, it's really interesting because I don't think it's Mexico. I think it's all around the world. I could be in the United States, I could be in Spain, I could be in the UK, I could be in Romania, I could be in Australia. Everybody is facing the same challenges politically. And we should never make it be about people. The moment you make it be about a person and you get emotional about the person, you're giving your power away to them. Make it be about principles. Make it be about values. Make it be about ethics. Stand up for what's just and what's fair and what's reasonable, not because you hate the person, but because you love the principle. And so then if you're saying, I want peace, or I want true change in Mexico, or I want to no longer live in lack or deception, the first question you have to ask yourself is there any lack, any deception in my life? I can't talk about peace if I'm arguing with my coworker. I don't get to talk about it until every area of my life is reflected with peace. So then, if you're doing that, and I'm doing that, and every person in Mexico is saying, okay, let me just work on changing me, and so that people have permission to do the same, all of a sudden you're less governed by laws, you're governed by principles.
Joe, it's been great talking with you, and I'm sure that the people that are watching us are very interested to be in touch with you. When are you coming back to Mexico?
Yes, we're running an event here in Mexico this particular weekend, and it's a full sold-out event, but we usually do 2 a year because they fill up pretty quickly. We'll be back in September.
Anything else you would want to share with us?
I think the only thing is to try it out. I mean, nobody is excluded from this phenomenon. And when you begin to prove to yourself that you can create a future that you like, when the small synchronicities and the coincidences and the serendipities begin to show up in your life, you're going to pay attention to what you did and you're going to do it again. And that's how we begin to know we're connected to a future instead of being connected to a past.
Thank you once and again. It has been a great honor.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Handshake again.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Él es Joe Dispenza, investigador y neurocientífico, quien nos ha platicado de cómo podemos crear un mejor futuro para nosotros. Muchísimas gracias.